A week is a long time in politics, and a lot has happened in Ghana's politics this week. You're in the Citiuation Room live on ChannelOne television. My name is Bernard Avle. I'm here with Samuel Yafi, who has a lot of things to say to us. Sami, hi.
Hi, Bernard.
So many things have happened in the past 7 days.
A lot.
I'm telling you. How are you looking forward to the show?
A great one, of course, as always. We expect to discuss, digest, and do everything when it comes to the NPP, the NDC. Alan Chamanti has also been speaking in respect of his vision and plan for Ghana. He was on a breakfast show, outlined a number of things that he wants to do for Ghana if given the opportunity to be elected president. But what a lot of people are hitting him hard is his plan to select NPP and NDC MPs as his ministers, which a lot of people say is not really visible, you know.
Very interesting. So those of you who are watching us prior to this show, he just basically finished the playback of my interview with him. We are also having this show whilst the NPP is having a very important meeting. This is what they call the National Executive Council. They are meeting at Alisa Hotel. And what's the agenda?
Agenda is to officially announce to the party and the elders of the party who is going to partner Dr. Bawumia in the December election. So the meeting is in three folds. There's the steering committee meeting, there's the National Executive Committee meeting, and then there's the NEC, or the National Council meeting, which is the second highest decision-making body of the party per the NPP's constitution. So they can either accept or reject the nominee, the flag bearer, who want to put on the table in today's meeting.
We also have one of my favorite guests on this show joining us with his latest work. I will show you who is when we come back. This is the Citiuation Room. We're live on ChannelOne. Stay with us. So the Citiuation Room today is focusing on the week in politics. There's a big, I won't call it an announcement. Basically, the NPP flag bearer has to convince the leadership of the party that Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is the right person to partner him to contest 2024 election. We also have the latest in the global info analytics work they've been doing. They do quarterly. So they did April. Now they've released July, which tells us the voting intentions, also the views around critical issues for election 2024. Mussa Dankwah is here. Mussa, great to have you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
So is it every month, every quarter? These your studies. What's the frequency?
It's every quarter.
Every quarter. So we did January, we did April, and we are doing July.
Yes.
And what does it look at?
We look at so many issues around governance. And also issues around election matters, the police and the confidence in the police and the EC. We look at corruption issues, standard of living, direction of the country. Those are the basic things we've been tracking. And in between, if there are issues, we test, we take them back and test them. Like free one tablet policy, we are testing it.
So there are some topics you track from the beginning, and there are new topics you track based on the episode.
So
this is the 2nd July release. So when did you start this? Not this particular, I mean this series.
We started in January 2022.
Wow. So you've done 2.5 years.
Of tracking,
Are you able to put everything together to see some trends?
We have some trends. We have trends.
January 2022 till now, every 3 months?
Every 3 months.
That's incredible.
Every 3
months. Look at that. Sammy, what do you think? That's 2.5 years worth of...
That's impressive.
Wow.
I mean, Mussa can even call the election before the Electoral Commission.
And there are some questions there, that he started from January 20. So it means questions around popularity of the president.
The performance of the government, the direction of the country.
And then voting intention of voters, even before the NPP primaries, hypothetical races, and when the primaries were done, we removed the rest and we continue. So we have a track polling of
So there are trends you can clearly delineate. Wonderful. We will come to this. Our main show today is on this. This is our main show. But we are journalists. We want to know what's happening in NPP. So, Sami, when did we know that it was Napo? Was it last week?
Officially, it was last week. But even before that, there were rumors, speculations here and there that he had settled on Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, even though there were other names in there. So on Thursday last week, exactly a week today, when the news broke that he has gone to meet the President of the Republic in respect of his running mate, that's when the the news officially came out that, he had settled on Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as his running mate for the December election. But before that, there was an NIB report that says that majority of party grassroots supporters, the full soldier, if you want to put it, agree or support the idea of Dr. Matthew Opoku being that. And then it followed by another research by Dankwah Institute, which also says 77% of NPP executives from the police station level to the national level all support Dr. Matthew Opoku.
So these two studies were both on MPP people?
Only all MPP
They didn't do a national...
No, and these were MPP executives from police stations to national offices.
So clearly they were looking for the most popular person in MPP.
Definitely.
Not necessarily the best person with crossover appeal.
No,
not necessarily.
No, not necessarily. They're looking for someone within the MPP, a grassroots person, and someone from the Ashanti region. Because remember, when Dr. Bawumia was elected, national officers of the party were all over the place saying that there's an agreement to select a running mate from the Ashanti region.
So that was a done deal.
So it was a done deal, and we all knew that it was coming from the Ashanti region. And so after his meeting with the president, it became official that, okay, he settled on him. And then after that meeting, he had gone to meet the majority caucus in parliament. And then Apenyo Markin, majority leader, also came out to say that he had met them, agreed that this is the gentleman he's going with. And then some few days, he met the National Executive Committee of the party, made up of national officers, and also informed them of his choice.
What I found strange was when Umaru Sanda was interviewing the majority leader. The majority leader told him on Eyewitness News that Dr. Bawumia had given him the permission to mention the names of the others he was considering, which I thought was quite interesting. And so Apenyo Markin did mention that apart from Napo, Dr. Bawumia had been considering Dr. Oseda Educhum. He mentioned Natoshi Ado. He mentioned Brian Champong. He even mentioned
Joe Osewusu.
Why did you think Apenyo Markin did that? Because typically, I mean, for example, when NDC announced their running mate, they didn't officially tell us they were considering other people. So, did you think there was, I mean, I don't know.
It was important for the vice president to explain to these people, the majority caucus, that, hey, we had names like these individuals going to partner you. Now you've settled on one person. Now, after all these people, explain to us why you didn't select any of them, but then you decided to settle on this particular gentleman. And is it true, the rumors we're hearing, that you were considering all these other people?
So to sort of get the because some of the people being selected were from parliament.
Yes.
So
the majority of them are members
of parliamentary
of
group needed to know.
Yes.
Okay. I'll come to Mussa on that. But let's go to the Alisa Hotel. Hansen Ajiman is joining us to give us more information around the meeting. We thought the meeting was supposed to start at 10, moved to 2. Now it's starting, what's the time? It's 4.
I'm told these are officially started now.
All right, Hansen, take it up. What's happening at Alisa? Who is there?
So currently the meeting is ongoing. The president and other Dankwah Kufuor just arrived and he's entered. And so if you come to Alisa Hotel, they've done a pavilion, which is an extension of the Alisa Hotel. Previously, such meetings were held close to where the pool is. But just beside that, they've done a pavilion, and that is where the meeting is being held today. The President Kufuor came some few moments ago. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia himself, he arrived about 30 minutes ago. The Chief of Staff, Fremose Opare, has been here. The chairman of the manifesting committee for Dr. Bawumia's campaign, Oseche Mensah Bonsu, he's also here. The majority leader, Alexander Apenyo Markin, is here. A host of other ministers and former ministers, as well as key members of the NPP campaign are here. We are told that the agenda is one, being an emergency meeting. It is for Dr. Bawumia to first announce and inform the National Executive Committee of the party of his decision to select Matthew Opoku Prempeh Napo as his running mate. If you would remember, Dr. Bawumia, per the NPP constitution, was expected to have done this a year before the election. So after his election in November 2023, the expectation was that a month after that, in accordance with the constitution of the NPP, he would have selected his running mate. However, he went to the National Executive Committee and subsequently to the National Council to seek for a waiver so that he can have time to consider the position and who rightly fits the bill. And so it's been about 6 months since the National Executive Committee of the party decided to waive that constitutional requirement for the running mate to be selected a year before the election when the NPP is in power. So he has already shown this, indicated this name to the president and to the parliamentary caucus and to certain select group of caucuses within the New Patriotic Party. He's now doing it at the National Executive Committee and the National Council because the constitution of the NPP says that the selection of the running mate or the vice presidential candidate should be in conjunction with the National Council and the National Executive Committee. And so the National Executive Committee and the National Council are expected to give their approval of this nomination. If they reject, then Dr. Bawumia will perhaps have to go back and look for another person or come again and try and justify. But indications as we've gotten so far suggest that he's got the buy-in of at least a greater number of the people who are at this meeting today. And so the first meeting that is being held by the National Executive Committee, which includes the national chairman, actually the executives, the regional executives, as well as representatives from various caucuses like the Women's Commission, the National Youth Wing, and also the Nasara Wing.
So when that is done, then the National Council will also meet? Is that the plan?
Yes, so after the National Executive Committee is done with its decision, then the National Council, which is the highest decision-making body of the party, will now also take a look at the decision of the National Executive Committee and affirm same or refer the National Executive Committee to reconsider its decision.
We expect both to say yes, right?
Certainly, from all indications, because if you look at the people who form National Executive Committee, a number of them are also part of the National Council. And 20 members of the parliamentary group are part of the National Council. And he's already met the parliamentary group, for which its leader has granted an interview to us, indicating their approval of that nomination, and even urging the party to an extension to accept same. So if the National Executive Committee accepts it, and 20 members of the National Council who already have taken a decision to approve of this nomination, with President Akufo-Addo who already has been engaged, then it's most likely that the National Council will also give its approval.
We'll come back to you before the program ends to see whether there's been any decision taken. So thank you, Hansen, for giving us this initial report. Hansen Ajiman is our man on the ground. And so, Sami, I think that's quite interesting. So National Executive Committee, then National Council. So it's a two-in-one meeting.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. I wanted your comment, Mussa, on the decision by Alex Marking in that interview to tell us that other people were being considered. Because I found that quite extraordinary. Usually, you don't hear that being said. They just choose the person and then they... But he took his time to mention all the names.
I think he was trying to create an impression that there was fierce competition.
Okay.
And that nobody should think that he or she has been ruled out.
Okay.
So that you maintain a bit of cohesion and unity within that
party.
time in the party, yes.
Interesting. Have you done any work on running mates yet? Even for NDC or other parties?
No, we didn't do that for NDC before announcement. But when she was announced, we took the name to a national poll and the results were there. In fact, as we speak to you now, we are doing polls in Greater Accra in some 6 constituencies where NAPO is featuring strongly in the question.
So you would know what
we will know what people think.
By the way, when you did the poll on Jenana after she was announced, where did you do the poll? What was the outcome?
It was national poll, part of the April tracking poll that we did.
Okay. And what was the question?
Oh, we asked them that did they support Mahama's nomination of Jenana Poku as a running mate, and it was overwhelming.
Yes. Were there regional variations in the?
Yes, there were regional variations, but broadly, I mean, even Ashanti didn't reject it.
All right. So in this NAPO poll you're doing, would Ashanti be featured?
In fact, we intend to commission a special one for Ashanti region next week, where we would test the Ashanti region response to the nomination and announcement next week. So I'll be talking to the team this afternoon.
I see.
We'll mobilize and do regional poll in the Ashanti region.
Wonderful. Let's come to this one. This is usually in 2 parts, right? There's the whole issue around how people see the country, how people see the president, how people feel about what's going on. And then the second is the voting intentions. Okay. So we know all of this. So I'm not going to go through this. What I want you to do is what are the 3 big things in the first part in terms of comparing July to April, how they feel about the president, how they feel about the economy, what issues they'll vote on? What are the 3 big findings from that first part that you feel we should talk about?
The direction of the country is always the #1 question. Okay. And we've seen slight improvement in those who think that we're headed in the right direction. About 2% appreciation. And then 2% decline in those who are pessimistic about where we are as a country. And then if you look at the...
So direction of the country is the first important thing. So let's see direction of the country. The second one is what?
The second one is the approval of the president.
Approval rating of the president. Okay. Which is a different question from direction of the country.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the third one?
And third one is people's standard of living.
Standard of living, whether it's improved or not.
Compared to the last 12 months.
Standard of living compared to the last 12 months. All right. Can we look at the direction of the country? If you guys are following me or whether good. I don't need this. I want the direction of the country.
Just go straight to the question. Yes. Just keep going.
Yes. Show me direction of the country. So in terms of direction of the country, there was a slight improvement.
Yes.
For
those who believe that Ghana is headed in the right direction.
Slight improvement.
Slight improvement. Not sure how.
I don't know if they are following us. Okay, gentlemen, please follow us quickly. So there was a slight improvement there.
Yes. Yes.
And then, in terms of that, if you trace it from the back, it's been quite dire. I think the last time I had it was in the 70s in terms of negative.
Yeah, last month it was 65%, I think. Now it is down to 63%.
So those who think the direction of the country is headed in the wrong direction
has declined
from about 65 to 62.
Yes.
So
63%. Yes.
So for this figure, the bigger the number, the worse.
Yes.
So if the answer is 70%, it means 70% think the country is in the wrong direction.
Absolutely.
All right. So this one, the lower the number, the better.
Yes. For the incumbent party and the government.
Okay. So that was the big takeaway for direction of the country.
Yes.
What about approval rating of the president? Why do you separate the two? Why do you separate approval rating from direction of the country?
Because it is his personal performance on the job compared to the overall perception of people regarding where the country is headed, which is different from the government or another's performance. So you must draw a line between the two. When it comes to the rest of the country, it's about education, economy, jobs, everything around that revolves around us that we take to mean where we're headed.
But if the two are trending the same way, it tells you that they are associated one with the other.
Absolutely. So if you look at when people say, oh, right direction, when it improves, the performance of the president improves. So
they attribute the direction of the country to the president's leadership.
Yes.
So if the two are not correlated, there's a problem.
There's a problem, yes. So since 2022, they've always been moving in the same direction.
If the country is doing well, president is doing well.
Absolutely.
So they know where the buck stops.
Yes.
There's no controversy over that.
No.
That's interesting because, I mean, this is interesting because we are in an election where the president is on the ballot. So if people think the country is moving the wrong direction and they blame the president for it, that makes the vice president's job a bit complicated?
Very difficult, because more or less they see him as being in the same boat and in the same governance structure. And so if you are the vice president, if the president is not there, you are there. So you can, that's why I always have argument with people when they say that the vice president will have it difficult when he tries to, one way or the other, to pull himself from what people describe as the mess that is currently ongoing, because you are the sitting vice president. You can't take yourself out of these things. The president will always be accused, and if the president is always being accused, you, the sitting vice president, may also be accused of the same thing, because the same governance structure. The more reason why John Mahama and other political candidates, including Alan Chamartin, when he spoke to yesterday, said the vice president cannot take himself out of what is really happening in this country.
So the president's image will affect the vice president.
Definitely, Bernard, definitely.
Even if the vice president distances himself from it.
Definitely.
Because the people see the country's direction as the president's performance, the two are linked.
Definitely.
So Dr. Bamyang cannot escape from
no.
there. So let's look at job approval. So
the more reason why his handlers will always say that he was just the driver's mate. He didn't take the main decision. The bus stop was with the president. He may advise. It is up to the president to take those advice or not. And so he wasn't really the man in charge. But opponents will say, no way. You have taken credit for a number of things that you claim that you spearheaded.
Okay.
And so if these things don't go well, you can run away from them.
So approval 32 up to 35. Disapproval 62 to 60. So it's a small. If you put January here, what would we have? Do you remember January?
Not off the top of my head, but if you look at the same period last year, we are in the same position as July last year.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
So July was the same?
Yes, almost the same, yes.
Nothing really has changed.
So for a whole year, people, about 60% of the people still disapprove of the president's leadership.
Yes.
For a whole year.
For a whole year.
That's incredible. Because wow, that's serious. So the third thing was the standard of living question you asked. What was the question? What was the main answer we got?
We asked them whether comparing their life, the living standards to date, to 12 months ago, has it improved?
Or worsened?
Or worsened, or unchanged, or no opinion. In July, in April, it was 19% improved. Now 21% improved.
Okay.
2% increase there. And now those who said worsened was 51% last time. It's dropped to 47%, a decline of 4%. And then for those who said it's unchanged, moved from 24 to 27%. And those who said no opinion has declined by 1% from 6 to 5. So this number of worsened has to decline faster than it is doing. Once it declines faster, you see the ripple effect of that in the polling numbers.
So style of living is not necessarily an economic question. So I'm sure you say, say,
and you see, it encompasses economy and everything that defines standard of living of the voter.
Well-being.
Well-being.
So this is not good, even though it's improved in terms of 2% point, and
Western has
if you are in government, you want this number
to go down.
You want this middle number to be lower.
Yes.
Does this mean anything? The fact that the unchanged is still in the 20s.
It's uncertainty. Those who say unchanged has rather gone up by about 4%. So what you want to see is movement along this curve into this column.
Yeah, because unchanged is not positive.
It's not positive.
Because don't forget, Sami, that people generally feel dark about the economy. So this doesn't. What you want is this.
It's here. Yes.
So you want this number to go here.
Yes.
That's quite interesting.
What other? They're no opinion people.
They're almost the same.
They're still almost the same.
But it's small.
It's small.
It's small. It's for the confidence interval small. So most people have an opinion about the economy.
Yes.
So in a way, you can say 47 plus 27, that's 74%, either worsened or unchanged.
Yes, and that is quite high.
You get it. So that's how it's essentially 74%. So that's about 3 out of every 4
voters
say their standard of living has not changed for the good or it's become worse. It's not a good sign. Yeah. By the way, you also asked the question around what is the most important issue for you in this election?
Yes. It always remains the top 3.
Can you show us the answer for that? What's the most important Or what are the issues you will look out for to vote? I don't know. How did you frame the question?
What are the 3 key issues that you take into consideration when deciding who you want to vote for?
What are the top 3 issues?
Yeah, so you may have 7 of them. We only want to press you to give us 3.
Why do you choose 3? You want to rank frequency?
Yes, you frequency.
You don't want just one, the top 3?
Top 3, yes.
And since you started, has the top 3 changed?
Between economy and job, sometimes they swap positions. So economy is 73% now, job 69%, education 50%.
But in terms of this 3,
it's always been like this, yes.
It's always this
always been this 3.
Why do you separate job from economy?
We wanted to tease out a lot of the variables on their own and test them. Because if you make it economy, it's too broad. People can't give specifics. You know, economy to some of us who have been well educated is well understood. But the people in the field, economy is going to be a mirage. So when you break it down like that, they are able to give you specific answers that relates to those issues specifically.
Would the same be qualified for the petroleum prices? Because it's
so,
also part of the economy.
So if you do analysis, you can then add what you think is economy and put them together. You can see
So Sammy, from what you're saying, let me get up, forgive me. If you take
this, petroleum prices,
and this,
taxes,
and you add it to this,
it gives way.
a lot.
So it's fair to say this election is an economy election?
Yeah.
It is. I've always said that.
The same way, remember when the leadership in minority changed? The explanation the student gave was that this election is going to be based on the economy. And so Atofo should take the place as a minority there because it's going to be an economic argument here and there now. So if this research gives out, they will indeed the economy is going to.
Sammy, I want your comment on this and this. Because in our programs,
roads have always come up on the breakfast show.
And then this is picked up by the opposition a lot. But it doesn't seem to
be a worry.
It doesn't appear in the top 3 of voters.
You know why, Bernard?
Talk to me.
When you have serious economic crisis, cost of living crisis, that is what bothers everybody.
People are not worried about corruption.
No.
That the corruption
it's not in their top 3.
It's not in the top 3.
That the corruption is leading to the worsening economic situation.
And I think that is the argument people who shout corruption have not been able to make, to link.
Or are people so used to corruption that
it
becomes normal.
They think that
it's become normal.
the same.
There's
not even an issue anymore. But their last point, I think that the fact that jobs is number 2, almost 70, is a big issue.
Yeah.
Because it talks about young people.
Yes.
So government should be concerned if 70% of the respondents have jobs in their top 3. That's scary.
Yes.
I find it worrying here that people would prefer roads to healthcare. I thought after education, healthcare should come. The topmost priority for every Ghanaian.
Another thing that you must bear in mind is that when there's a crisis in a sector, it then becomes a heightened issue.
Okay.
When things are going well quietly, it doesn't register as key issue. That is why when, for example, we are in the school admission process, education spikes. When they are going through the hardship and challenges and queuing and that,
So the education is seasonal.
Yes, seasonal.
But education and economy and jobs are always top priority.
Yes.
But Sammy Rose is not that bad. 27% is serious. Yeah. This is the situation room where we're talking to Mussa Dankwah. First part, we had Hansen Ajeman, NPP, National Executive Committee and National Council will listen to Dr. Bawumia's reasons for choosing Matthew Opoku Prempeh as his running mate, and they will come to a decision hopefully today. We'll come back to Hansen at the end of the program to see if there's been any decision. We're also looking at the latest in Mussa Dankwah's polls. It's in 2 parts, 3 big items. Direction of the country, over 63% think the country is heading in the wrong direction. President job approval ratings, disapprove is also above 62%. And of course, the standard of living of people, almost 47% say it's worsened. And of course, the top issues for elections, economy, jobs, education. Do you agree? Send us a note. Let's hear from when we come back. What are the numbers saying about the leading candidates and voter intentions? Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is the Situation Room. We're on ChannelOne Television. My name is Bernard. I'm here with Samuel Wiafe, and we're having a discussion on many issues. First point, NPP, NEC, and National Council to hear from the flag bearer on who his running mate will be. Hansen Agyemang expects both bodies to approve or to ratify the decision by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Second part, Mussa Dankwah, he's been doing these polls on this series since January 2022. Feelings about the country and 3 big headlines. Direction of the country, most people think the country is heading in the wrong direction. Presence of approval ratings, even though it's improved from April, still not positive. It's below 30 in terms of I approve of this direction. Then, of course, the issue of what's the most important thing that will determine your voting. Economy is number 1, jobs number 2, education number 3, roads follow, corruption in the top 5 as well. But the other part of this is the issue of who people intend to vote for. Have you been asking this question since you began the polls?
Yes.
So even when there was no candidate?
When there was no candidate, we were doing what we call hypothetical races.
Okay.
So we were pegging Mahama against Bawumia, against Alan, before Kennedy announced. And we were doing Dufo against Bawumia, against
So
Alan.
since January 2022, what has been consistent in that answer?
Mahama has always led.
Since January 2022, Mahama has always led.
Yes.
When you put everything together.
Yes.
What's the second thing? I'm sure Bawumia has improved.
Yes, the second thing is that the gap had been in the range of 20%.
From January last 2 years.
Yes.
But
now it's narrowed.
It's narrowed.
Yes.
Of course, he was selected late last year.
Yeah.
Because Mahama was selected much earlier.
Mahama was May 2022, Bawumia was November 2023.
So Mahama had a year and a half lead
year,
over Bawumia in terms of being the candidate.
Yes.
So it was a 20-point gap, which reduced to now how much?
Now it's around 12.
12. Interesting. So what's the difference between weighted and unweighted?
Unweighted here means that every response that we got, we are accounting for them here. So you can reconcile this number with the number of people we interviewed, which means that on the raw basis.
So this is the raw data?
Raw data.
How many people did you interview?
7,931, I think.
So almost 8,000 people.
Almost 8,000 people.
How many constituencies?
111 constituencies.
Every region?
Yes, all the regions.
16 regions?
Yes.
So 8,000 people, 111 constituencies, 16 regions. In terms of the sampling for the regions, did it follow the population?
Yes, we use the EC 2020 register as a sampling frame.
So Greater Accra, Ashanti,
Ashanti,
Central, Eastern
Central.
Eastern Central. So John Mahama has 43%, Bawumia has 35%, Alan has 4.4%, NKB has 4.1%, all the others together have 1%. So the third in this race is undecided and I will not vote.
I will not vote, yes.
If you put them together, 9, Sammy, look at this.
9.2.
9.2, either not vote. Actually, if you add this, I won't tell you, I won't vote, and I don't know.
Decided, yeah.
That's 7 plus 4, 11.
Yes.
So there's a lot of work, there's a lot of votes up in the air.
And I've met a lot of people who have said that they will not vote in this election. A lot of people have told me that, Sammy, there's no use. It's of no use. So why would I really want to vote? And these are, it's not just one person, quite a number of people. And on the breakfast show, you hear people, sounding frustrated day in, day out. On the day of election, it may translate and get people not to vote.
Let me ask you, have you noticed that this number has been reducing since January? Because when he started this polls, this number was in the teens.
Yeah.
But as elections draw closer, it's reducing.
They've now changed their minds.
So as elections draw closer, I think voter intentions tilt towards voting than not voting.
What normally changes is the undecided. Unless something exciting really comes up in the race, then those who said I will not vote, then change their mind. They do change their mind from I will not vote to undecided, and then eventually vote for someone.
So first headline for me, if I were looking at this, is the fact that this is coming down. These are coming down. That tells you that as you draw closer, these guys are going to get more. People are going to have to make a choice.
Yes.
Because this used to be very big as well. This used to be very big as well. But I think I want to suggest that the reduction has gone to mostly these two guys.
Yeah.
Because these guys were very low before. So a lot of the undecided are now going.
We will see where the numbers came from eventually. But
as we keep going.
Yeah, as we keep going.
No, hold on. Go back there. Go back there. I just want to go back to. I want the raw data. So go back to unweighted, please. I just want to ask.
This is raw data.
This is unweighted. Yes.
Yes, unweighted.
Second headline for me is this guy.
Yes.
He's the.
I was just about asking.
He tremendously improved, doubled his performance compared
What's
to
the trick?
Young voters.
Young voters.
Young voters, yes.
He's everywhere. I mean,
I saw his video in Ashaman, and I was surprised, Bernard. I was like, hey, really?
I wasn't surprised because even before, you see, you don't know, even before he decided to be a candidate, I followed this guy quite a bit where he does food distribution, Independence Square. People know him a lot.
Yeah.
He has a strong social media following. Did you see his Gamanche video? Did you see his Asantini video? He went to Asantini's 25th anniversary with a car. He went to Gamanche with a delegation with his wife, I suppose. The guy is rising.
Look, in Abura Asibu Kwamenkesi,
yes,
he's leading in the
of all the candidates.
Yes.
AAK, as they
The
call
central
it.
region?
Central region. If you go to Kade, backyard of my hometown,
Eastern region?
he's leading.
In Kede.
If you go to Senya East, he's around number 2.
Ewutu Senya is
Yes,
just
that's
here.
why he is.
That's how Akusis end.
I'm telling you. So
Wow.
I think after this election, a lot of the notes we had about politics will need to be revised.
This guy should be worried. He was on my show yesterday. If this guy has come out of nowhere and is already at par with you with less than a year of work, and you are saying you have all these 9 groups behind you, I mean, the trend shows that he's going to go up, isn't it?
Yes.
So should he be worried or is he okay?
No, everybody in this group must be worried about this guy. It's not
All
just-
of these guys
So,
are
he may pull from all of them.
Yes, in fact, if you go further, we'll see where
he's taking his votes
where
from.
Mahama loss went and where Alan losses went to.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to. So this is the unweighted.
Yes.
Nana,
Kwame Bediako.
4%. Alan 4.5%. Just to be clear. Baumia 35% to 36%. John Mahama 43%. So in this scenario, there will be a runoff. But
you can't say so because when the time comes, we will not count those who say I will not vote.
Thank you. So it's 50%. Okay. So go to weighted. Show me.
Next one is what?
Let's go to weighted.
But before we go to weighted, the unweighted one, the 35% for the... Is it after his nationwide
Yes,
tour?
after, yes.
So
That's
it means
what
that
we
this
have
number
seen
was
in
lower
improvement.
before his tour.
Yes.
It was around 32.
Yeah, around 30.
Only 31. Around
Yes.
31 there.
So he's got a 4%
About 3% increase, yes.
bump. Let's go to weighted. So what does weighted mean?
Weighted simply means that we remove those who said they will not vote.
Those who said they will not vote are out.
Yes, and those who said I will not disclose out. And then we realign the sample to reflect the strength of each party in the data that we've taken over the years.
Because there are people tell you their party affiliation as well.
Yes, so
So when you then weigh it,
against the party affiliation, you then bring everybody at level of their party affiliation. And just in case you undersample MPP or oversample MPP on the day, the weight is used to adjust the differences.
but when you weigh it, everybody goes up a bit. But
Yes.
John goes from 43 to 48.
Yes.
Baumia goes from 35 to 36, just one. So John gains 4, he gains 1.
You know why?
Why?
There are more people in MPP voting for John than NDC voting for Baumia.
Oh, so that's what it is.
That's what, yes.
So
MPP members will want to
So,
vote for
so
John.
but
Yes.
John is benefiting from MPP proclaimed voters, but Bamia is not benefiting from NDC people.
No.
Okay.
He's not.
Yes.
Kennedy moves from Alan, from 4.8,
8.
from 4.4 to 4.8. So less than 0.5%.
Yes.
He also moves by, so 0.4% move each.
Move, yes.
These guys actually reduce.
Yes, because when it comes to party affiliation, they don't benefit. But those who support other parties, they are very small in the sample.
So it means that Nana Kwame Bediakun's visibility has really...
Overshadow everybody in the smaller parties.
The only person surviving is Alan.
Alan, yes.
That's an interesting... So it's a 4-horse race or 2.5-horse race, if you like. But this is still...
4.8 undecided. So if you were to go to the elections, now the way these guys would behave, we would then turn this race into something else.
In this scenario, there's no first round winner.
But when you go to the polls, you're not going to go as undecided. You go and decide.
You vote.
Yes.
So if you were doing this as votes, does he cross 50%?
Yes, he will cross 50%. Yes. That's the next slide.
Go to the next slide, guys.
Yes.
So now if you put voting intentions,
if you assume that those who are undecided will break away or decide in the same way as the main race, this is what you will get. And normally, in an election where it is steady, there's no scandal, they will break away in that manner. They only tilt towards the loser or the one behind if there's a scandal on the leader of the race.
What I find interesting here is, I mean, usually when NDC wins elections, it's around 51.
Yeah.
It's not that high. So he doesn't seem to have done anything wrong. I think the problem is here.
Yeah, the problem is there.
The problem is because he is getting what he would
Yeah.
probably. So the issue is this, because they don't get this low.
Yeah.
No.
They usually will get 45-ish.
Yeah, thereabout, yes.
So the problem for him is that his people are not
his
voting.
other brothers.
And
down
these
there.
guys seem
Also
to be
pulling
taking
vote from him.
Yes.
from him.
Yes.
So Musa, would he have done better if, let's say, these two decide not to contest at all?
Absolutely.
But you
Okay.
tell us, let's do a quiz here. Sammy, between this guy and this guy, who do you think takes more from Bawumia?
Alan.
You think so?
Yes.
Is he correct?
Yes.
He's correct.
Yes.
So he's actually a problem for him.
Absolutely.
If you were not in the race, and the assumption is that they were all voting for him, that would have, if you add 5 to this, that's about 43. So that's more steady state.
Yeah.
Because this is a bit abnormal.
Yes. Yeah.
So he's a problem for them.
That's what people don't understand. They don't understand why NPP is below 40%.
It's because of
Because
him.
of this guy. I mean, it's data.
Not this guy?
Partly. Because if you look at where this guy is also doing well, it's Eastern region and Ashanti region.
Which is for
Still
him.
for him as well.
So these two people are
his
worrying him.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's why he's folded his arms. But talking. Did you deliberately choose that picture? It's like, you know.
No, in fact, I was looking for
It's
the
like,
campaign.
with a cool. So there's a lot of dynamism here.
Yes. And you see, the gain Bawumia made in the last current poll came from Alan. About 80% or 70% came from Alan.
So the bump he got after the campaign were disgruntled people who had gone here.
And have come back.
That's interesting. Did you use any region to test this? Where did he gain them? Was it Central? Is it Ashanti? Where is it?
We looked at data on the party level, those who said they were NPP. It shows that those who were voting for Mahama that were NPP in the last period were 9%. Now it's gone to 8%, 1% drop. And that 1% is quite big in terms of NPP people coming back home. But the biggest loser was Alan. He was getting 7% of NPP people. But now he's dropped to 2%. That is 5% drop, and that is quite huge.
And they are mostly going back to...
They all went to
Bawumia.
Bawumia, yes.
So April, John had 54, is now 51. Bawumia had 35, is now 38. Alan has 7.5, he has 5.3. So this is the biggest winner.
Yes, double his performance.
This is the biggest winner. So these guys are done.
No, I think they are done. They are done.
Musa, you think if Nana Kwame had entered the race a bit earlier, he would have gotten different figures than we are seeing now?
No, that would just be opinion.
Okay.
You don't have any data
I don't
to
have
show
anything
them.
to show that, you know.
So the other thing I find interesting, Sami, is this. This and this, they seem to be quite interesting. So it's like Bawumia's giving it to Mohammed's loss, although he's explaining that it's actually...
Went to Nana Kwame.
Yes, so this gain came from here.
Yes.
So it is his loss that was his gain,
Yes.
and it is his loss that was his gain.
Yes.
Do you follow the logic?
Yeah.
So
And then the excess was what went to Bawumia.
So if Nana Kwame keeps doing better, Mahama will suffer more.
Yes. But one thing is that, you see, you have to also analyze the behavior of these supporters in an event that Nana Kwame is not in the race.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes. If someone moves from Mahama to Bawumia, that will be a permanent loss. They won't come back.
But if they move to
from
any of the to the smaller guys, they can come back.
They can come back. And Mahama's loss went to Nana Kwame. And if you run a runoff scenario, 65% of Nana Bijakun people go back to Mahama.
Oh, that's, Sami, what do you think? So basically,
Yes.
the Nana Kwame people, they don't want to do anything about me.
No.
So is Nana Kwame first?
Yes.
If not, maybe Mahama.
Yes. And
Alan's people too.
in the case of Alan, quite interesting. In the runoff scenario, 51% of Alan supporters go to Mahama.
51%
yes.
of Alan's people
go to Mahama.
Wow. So what is this?
This is a question we posed to them, that in case there was no clear winner in the first round, who would you vote for in the runoff?
10% gap.
Yes. And 6% said they are undecided, which means that if you add that 6 to Bawumia entirely, it still doesn't cross.
But the fact that between April and July, go back to the slide that shows the table. Can you go back to the table slide? So October will be very critical.
Very.
Because October will show us now.
October will be too late for them.
September.
So
for strategy,
for us to understand what's going on,
this is more important data they must have now. Because we have time now to change things here.
Because if you put January here, this guy was higher, this guy was lower, this guy was higher, this guy didn't exist.
Yeah.
And April, he's come up, he's gone down,
yeah.
He's come up, he's come down.
Yeah.
So my point is that the next one will prove if it's a trend or a blip.
But what I'm saying is that you will see what has happened. But for strategy and tactical planning, it might be too late.
It's too late. So you don't think you want to wait till October to do the next one? Or you probably have to do it in September? What do you want to do?
We will start in September ending, and bring the report early October.
So it's September, which is 3 months to elections.
Yes. And then we will go back again a month after and bring the report November. That will be about 2 weeks before the elections, or 3 weeks.
So if this trend continues, it's still a win for John, unless it's a big loss for him.
Unless it's a big loss.
Because of the effect of...
And even if it's a big loss, that loss will create a runoff scenario.
Not a first round?
No.
So there's no scenario yet that Bawumia wins the first round?
No.
There's no scenario that he wins the first round?
And the problem for him is that you must have allies in the runoff.
Yeah. And when you do... Okay, so let's go there. When you do the runoff scenario for Kennedy or Nana Kwame... So why do I keep calling Kennedy? I think the KK is confusing me. Alan or Nana Kwame. It goes to John.
Yes, because Bawumia is on his own.
Lone Ranger.
Alan guys, most of them go to Mahama. Bedefu guys, most of them go to Mahama. The smaller parties go to Mahama. And even those who were... So it's, when you don't have natural allies, runoff becomes a very difficult...
So show me the runoff scenarios.
But, you know, it's always a problem for an incumbent government when there's a runoff.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. You get the other...
But he has more resources.
Yeah.
He has more resources, he has more media coverage, he has
Remember
more...
in 2008, Akufo, the NPP had all the resources, but yet the other smaller political parties decided to join.
He won by he lost by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
Show me the other runoff scenarios. So this is 10% point gap between the two.
I don't think I have that. The other one is rather worse, because when it is Mahama against Alan, then Mahama goes up quite significantly.
So it means that for a second round, they would prefer...
Yeah, because where Bawumia is, there's no way you can have Alan having a runoff with Mahama. The numbers will not stack up.
Do you have any regional insights to share on who does well where? Fred, do you have any regional
Yes, I think if he goes forward, we can see the regional numbers.
Yeah, I just want to know. And by the way, if there's any movement on Hansen, let me know. I want to know if... Because I want to talk to him before the show and just to find out if the meeting is settled and whether the neck... All right. Keep moving forward. We don't need this now. We'll come back to this later.
You'll see some 4 charts in one.
Some 4 charts about regional charts.
Yes.
Although I need to say, one of the questions you asked about religion, I think most people are not going to vote based on religion.
Let me tell you what. You know, in the issues that matter to you, when we give them the chance to mention only 3, religion barely comes on top. But when you tease that question out, whether religion would influence your choice on its own as a question, 19% said yes.
But that's 1/5.
And that
1 out of 5.
In 1/5 in election.
But in a 1/5 in election where you have the first time that the two leading candidates don't come from the same religion?
Now, let's look at this religious vote. It will probably explain something here.
Show me. Explain.
So here, you can see that Christians, Mahama on 47%, Bawumia on 41%,
yeah.
Alan 6%, Bediako 5%. When it comes to the Muslims, Mahama 56%, Bawumia 36%, Alan 3%, Kwan Bediako 3%. And when it comes to traditional religion, Mahama 51%, Bawumia 36%, Alan 6, Bediako 4. Other religions, the smaller religions, that's where Bawumia leads. Mahama 32 and Bawumia 52%.
But when you look at the weight, Christianity is about 70.
70%, yes.
Muslim about 20 something.
20%.
So that's 90 already.
Yes.
So these people share the
These are very small. Yes. So
and these guys are more than these guys.
Yes, yes. Between the Islam and Christians.
So this has persisted. John does better among Muslims than Bawumia.
Yes, consistently.
And Bawumia does quite appreciably among Christians, 41.
I think when he does very well among the Akans, this number improves.
So in Ghana, ethnicity is a bigger factor than religion.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
It's a proven factor. Maybe after this election we'll know. So Sammy, you get the point.
I do.
Ethnicity is a stronger
Than the religion.
factor than religion.
Yes.
Because this is the first time you have two people from different religions on the ticket, and yet religion is not such a big issue. And we should be grateful for that. Because religion can be dangerous, so I think it's a great one.
These are the regional numbers.
Let's look at Ashanti.
Ashanti region.
Bawumia has shot up from 54 to 66.
Yes, that is the biggest gain he made and probably accounted for the movement in his numbers between Alan.
Sammy, so if you put Napo up, and if the assumption is that Napo is good here, by next quarter, this could be 70 something.
Provided everyone in the region likes him. Because already we've seen people opposing his alleged nomination.
Which is why you saw Bernardine Chiboesiako and Napo have that meeting.
Because already there's a big friction between two of them. They do not agree.
I think the top may kind of fix things, but the lower level.
The lower level.
So Bawumia's best region is Ashanti.
Ashanti region, yes.
Then the running mate choice of Ashanti makes sense.
It makes sense.
No,
His best region is percentage-wise is Ashanti.
You know why it makes sense?
Yeah.
Because I think they have to choose a battle to fight. What is more important to NPP, floating voters or the Ashanti region?
And they felt
Ashanti region.
let's get our base.
Yes.
Let's get our base united.
And I've had
I think
executives tell me that.
It's a damage control.
So they preferred their base to rally behind Bawumia.
And I've heard party executives say that when they get more than 75% of their base come out in their numbers to vote in December, they have a good chance.
And Bawumia did Bawumia's round. He went to Ashanti, right?
Yeah, that was the last region.
He ended in Ashanti.
Yeah. And I'm reliably informed that.
All right, Hansen Ajiman is back. We understand the chosen one is entering Alisa. Hansen, take up the story.
Okay. So the national organizer has gone. You can see Matthew Opoku Brampe. So actually he's been taken to be shown to the National Executive Committee of the NPP. He's wearing he's in party colors. At this moment, what it gives, or the indication it gives, is that he has been accepted by the National Executive Committee, or perhaps they want to have a better look at him before they can take a decision on him. So that is a bit of scaffold over here because a lot of the party faithfuls are trying as much as possible to have a glimpse of him. Here the chair from the party faithfuls. He's been taken to the National Executive Committee meeting where his fate is being decided as to whether or not he would be the running mate for the NPP going into the 2024 general election. He's currently signing in so that he can make his way into the pavilion where the engagements are unfolding, where his fate will be decided. But obviously, from party faithfuls here, they are happy, they are cheerful, they are joyful. Of course, decision that a national security report has indicated is supported by over 70% of the base of the party. And so, of course, the welcome that he has received here so far is not one that is surprising in itself. But beginning of the program, a lot of people were wondering whether or not Matthew Opoku-Prempeh would actually come to the venue grounds. We had indication that they will bring him when they are done with everything and they accept his candidature. The security officers are trying to push away some party members who want to make themselves into the pavilion where the meeting currently is ongoing. So a bit of scuffle between the security and some of the party members, trying as much as possible perhaps to catch a glimpse of what is happening inside the meeting. Some of the members of the committee who had come out earlier, I've been finding it difficult to enter, but obviously it is one of joy for members of the NPP here, particularly for those who were pushing for Matthew Opoku-Prempeh to be selected as the running mate of Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia. Essentially, what has happened now is that Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has been able to make his way into the pavilion where the engagements are being had, where his fate is being decided. And of course, if they had not already approved of him, perhaps the National Executive Committee would try to give him an opportunity to justify why they should affirm the decision of the National Executive Committee. I mean, you have been working with NAPO for a very long time. I mean, as a close ally of NAPO, how has this decision come to you?
Well, it's quite an exciting day, not only for the New Patriotic Party, but the country Ghana. Because having worked with Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh at the Ministry of Education, his commitment to the work that has been given to him by His Excellency the President has been phenomenal. I mean, he has delivered on all fronts within the education sector. If you look at the reforms that took place within the TVET education sector, it never has happened in the history of this republic. If you look at the introduction of the free SHS, when many were in doubt that this policy was never going to be implemented within the first year of the administration, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, with the commitment and the support of His Excellency the President, took the bold decision that within the first year of the administration, of the first term of the President, he was going to make sure that the free SHS policy...
Do you think that his candidature will suffer any form of difficulties with the National Executive Committee and the National Council?
Well, no, we expect a smooth process to happen. I think in the next few minutes, we will all be jubilating because it's going to have an overwhelming endorsement by the National Council. If you look at what His Excellency the Vice President, the flag bearer of the leader of the party has already done, there's been a series of consultation with various stakeholders. And I believe that all edges has been smoothing to make sure that we have an overwhelming endorsement. And we are going to be excited in the next few minutes and celebrate together the outdooring of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh.
What do you reckon the NAPO effect will be for the Bawumia candidate?
Yeah, we expect that, you know, those that have gone into a bit of apathy. We expect that those that have gone into a bit of apathy with Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, we are going to see a new resonance. You know, we are going to see a lot of people that are going to sit on the fences. They're all coming to join us to be able to make sure that they join the campaign team, to be able to go to the ground. This campaign is retail campaign, is door to door, and there is
then Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. I don't think that NAPO does not know that out there there's a perception about.
So thank you very much. That was Hansen Ajiman. A lot of noise there. Very interesting times indeed. And I think your last slide shows us where the discussion is going to go. So maybe next time we'll look at Ashanti, the bump he had from the tour and what this is going to mean. So there's a lot to look out for. Thank you, Sammy. Always good to have you. I'm back. You are the host now. I'm the guest. I took over. And Mussa, Dankwah, keep up the great job. Thank you for being on our program. So that's all we have time for today's edition of the Situation Room. We'll be with you next time. Bye-bye.